I've been thinking a lot about green lights lately, and I'll tell you why. So green lights are basically those sweet little moments when life tells you to keep going. They're the driving forces that power you through seemingly impossible obstacles, through roadblocks, barriers, or maybe even police spikes if that's your thing. They're the idea that everything happens for a reason, that every lane you've switched, every state sign you've passed was crucial to your personal growth, your identity,
McLovin?
and your legacy.
You know I am! I'm Bogle!
It's a way to recognize and appreciate the foundations you've built, to reward yourself for the small successes and forgive yourself for the failures. And look, I'm not a man of faith or even a man of fate or destiny or any of that shit, but the concept of green lights has really been the fuel that I needed to keep driving. It's inspired new ways of thinking and organizing and has really changed the way that I move through this world. I got this book from one of my best friends, Danny Casal. He's a super successful animator and artist, and it's been a long time, inspiration for me to do all this kind of stuff. And he gave me this book at a time where I think he knew that I really needed it. And I know it sounds dramatic that a book by Hollywood superstar Matthew McConaughey could have such a positive effect on me. I too was shocked, honestly, but somehow it did, and I'll try my best to explain why. So for a while, I felt like I was constantly missing the mark. I had the destination in mind, but I didn't have the map. My tank was full, but my car wouldn't start, and when I'd get it jumped, I'd finally hit the road, and I'd just get car sick, and I'd throw up clam chowder all over the side of the highway. That's a true story, but one for another day. And I couldn't understand why there were over 40 million miles of road on this fucking planet, and I was just stuck at this never-ending light, and it's been really hard for me to look at people who cruise through every green. It feels like their paths just open, the seas part, the concrete rises from the fucking earth, and they're on their way, and I'm just idling in traffic. I'm sure a lot of you have felt like this, right? And Tony Hawk says not to think about the falls. Never think, just do, but that's not who I am, and it's never been who I am. Tony, I'm a fucking realist, and I always anticipate the broken arm. And it's because I've been burned before. In fact, I've been fucking scorched. Like, for example, one of the biggest red lights in my career was when I edited for Yes Theory. I had made a video about my experience working for them, but what I didn't talk about in that video is how much heartbreak I actually felt behind the scenes. Basically, I worked there for 2 weeks as an editor while I was living in Los Angeles, and it was just like a trial edit, editing one of their videos. And at the end of my trial, it was deemed that I wasn't fit for the job, and I was absolutely crushed. The feedback was that my storytelling just wasn't there, and as someone who's been telling stories their whole life,
hi boys and girls,
that one really hurt. And at the time, that light felt as red as the devil's dick. I felt like I dropped the ball and I missed a huge opportunity. But when I look back at it now, a year and a half later, that was my biggest green light in disguise. I internalized that feedback, I processed it, and I acted. I made videos every week and got noticeably better with each one. I pushed myself as hard as I could to be consistent. I realized my value and I told stories more candidly. I became a better editor, a better artist, and most importantly, a better person because I wanted to prove them wrong, and I think I fucking did. And accepting failure is a huge part of the concept of green lights. It's stepping back and looking at every little piece of the puzzle that built the picture of your life. And I know that sounds corny, but basically it's like you don't want to look at the single old decrepit tree, but you want to zoom out, and look and see the whole forest, like how we got from point A to point B and how every time we stop, we learn something new. And from my experience, when you adjust your mindset like this, it can really help to cope with shitty things that happen in life. And when I wake up in the morning and I have coffee in my beautiful house in Austin, Texas, I try to remember all of the red lights that turned green and led me to this very kitchen, to this very cup of damn fine coffee, to this city where I've made amazing friends and made videos I'm really proud of. I worked really hard to pull myself out of depression and realize my worth, and that was all through this YouTube channel. And now I get to enjoy it in this kitchen where the sun is always shining. Too much though sometimes. This Texas heat is no joke, man. So to sum it all up, I believe the idea of green lights can really help you navigate this f***ed up world that we live in. I hope this video helps you keep your foot on the gas.